Force yourself to let go and live your life. Denzel Washington motivation. Listen up. Today, right now, I'm going to share something with you that has the power to change your life. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Change isn't something that waits for you. It demands your action, right in this moment. We all face struggles, pain, fear, self-doubt, and habits that keep us stuck. You might be holding on to toxic relationships or clinging to things that no longer serve you. And guess what? It's time to let go. Let go of those weights. Let go of the past, the fears, the doubts that are holding you back from your true potential. It's time to make space for greatness, to free yourself, and finally start living your life the way you deserve to. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life. Let's dive into this together and begin the transformation you've been waiting for. 1. The power of letting go. I grew up in a neighborhood where people held onto their past like a security blanket. I've seen it countless times, and I'm sure you have too. People, especially men, gripping their past failures, mistakes, and regrets as if they were some kind of armor. It's a cultural thing, maybe even a generational thing. We grow up taught that pain, failure, and hardship are part of who we are. We start to believe that these burdens are just a part of our identity, that we're supposed to carry them with us everywhere we go, like a weight around our necks. This is me, we tell ourselves. I'm a product of my past. But here's the harsh truth that so many people refuse to face. That's a lie. Those hands, the ones that have carried burdens, the ones that have held on so tightly to the past, were meant to build, to create, to grasp the future, not to hold on to things that weigh us down. That's what we were born to do, to create, to build, to move forward. It's easy to forget that. The weight of our history, our regrets, our pain, can cloud our vision and make us believe we can never change, never move beyond the person we were yesterday. But the real question is, what are you willing to let go of to move forward? Letting go is not about forgetting the past or pretending it didn't happen. It's not about erasing the scars that life has given you. It's about choosing to stop carrying the weight of those past mistakes or wounds in a way that stops you from moving forward. Letting go is about freeing yourself from the grip of the past so you can create a future that aligns with who you are today, not who you were yesterday. And trust me, letting go is one of the hardest things you can do, especially as you get older. It's almost like a reflex, holding on to what we know, even when what we know is doing us more harm than good. It's easy to get comfortable with the pain. We learn to live with it. We almost start to define ourselves by it. But you don't have to live that way. You're not defined by your failures. You're defined by how you rise after them. This is where the Stoics have so much wisdom to offer. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacles we face, our pain, our regrets, our past failures, don't have to be the end of the road. They can become the very things that propel us forward, but only if we're willing to let them go and stop carrying them as our identity. When I look at men, particularly those in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, I often see how much weight they're carrying. This weight isn't always physical, but it's there. Emotional baggage from old relationships, unhealed wounds, or the regret of not having lived up to their potential. They've lived with it so long that it becomes part of who they think they are. They believe it's impossible to change. But here's the reality. It's never too late to let go. Age doesn't define whether or not you can make a change. Your willingness to let go does. It's about breaking free from the chains of the past that have held you captive for so long. A few years ago, I had a conversation with an older man who had lost his wife. He carried that grief for decades, and it shaped everything about him, the way he approached life, the way he spoke to people, even the way he looked at the world. But one day, something shifted in him. He realized that the grief, the pain, the loss, It was all becoming a crutch. It was no longer a part of his healing process. It had become his identity. He decided to let it go. Not forget her, not ignore the importance of that part of his life, but simply stop letting the grief control him. That decision didn't come easy, but it transformed him. What's holding you back today? What's that one thing you're gripping so tightly, convinced that if you let go, you'll lose yourself? It could be an old failure, a relationship that's long past its expiration date, or even the fear of trying something new because you're too comfortable in the pain. The Stoic philosopher Seneca reminds us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. We think that letting go means we'll lose something essential to who we are, but the truth is, we stand to gain far more by freeing ourselves from the burdens of the past. When you let go, you open the door to greatness. This is not a call to simply forget what's happened. No, it's about acknowledging the past, feeling its lessons, and then making the conscious decision to let it go. So many men, especially as they get older, think they've missed their chance, that the life they wanted is out of reach. But remember, your potential doesn't expire with age. You can always change. You can always evolve. But you can only do that by letting go of the things that are tying you down. Stop holding on to regret. Stop holding on to the comfort of pain. Choose today, choose this moment, to release what no longer serves you, so you can live a life of purpose, meaning, and freedom. Let your hands go free. Build, create, and live your life fully. You have more power than you realize. Trust yourself, trust the process, and trust that the best chapters of your life are still ahead of you. 2. The struggle. Holding on to the past. We all want success, don't we? We dream of a better life, of reaching our full potential, of achieving the things we've worked so hard for. But many of us want success while holding on to emotional baggage that's slowing us down. It's that baggage we carry around, those past failures, criticisms, the fears that keep us from moving forward. You know what I mean. We all have them, those things that happened years ago, things people said to us, or even things we said to ourselves. But here's the harsh reality. You cannot build your future while you're still holding on to the past. That emotional baggage, whether it's the fear of failure, the weight of past mistakes, or the critical voices from people who doubted you, it's holding you back more than you realize. And when you carry all that weight, it's like trying to run a race with a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Sure, you might make it a few steps, but you're never going to reach your full potential. When was the last time you truly let go of something that no longer served you? What's weighing you down right now? Some past mistake, a failed relationship, or maybe just a deep-rooted fear that you're not enough? Here's the problem. When we focus too much on what's behind us, we lose sight of what's ahead. It's like driving a car. The windshield in front of you is much larger than the rearview mirror. Why? Because what lies ahead is far more important than what's behind you. Think about it. You can't drive your car while staring in the rearview mirror. If you did, you'd crash. But many of us do this in our lives. We keep our eyes focused on the past, replaying the mistakes, reliving the pain, and looking back at what didn't work. We hold on to the things that happened, the things we can't change, and it's like putting our lives on pause. I know a man who spent most of his 40s consumed by a failed business. He had poured everything he had into it, his time, his money, his energy, and when it collapsed, he felt like he had failed at life. For years, he couldn't let go of that failure. Every decision he made after that was clouded by the fear of failing again. He'd look back at the mistakes he made, thinking that maybe if he had done something differently, things would have worked out. And for years, it kept him stuck. He was living in the rearview mirror of his life. But one day, he realized something. He had been holding on to that failure as if it was a part of him, as if he could never move forward without it. That was when it hit him. The past is just that, the past. It cannot define his future unless he lets it. He made a decision right then and there to stop looking back. He shifted his focus to the windshield in front of him, to what he could control, his actions, his choices, his next steps. And just like that, his life started to change. You might be asking, but how do I let go of the past? How do I stop letting it control my life? It's simple. First, you have to accept that you can't change what happened. You can't undo mistakes, repair lost time, or go back and change the words spoken. But what you can do is shift your focus to what's in front of you. What's ahead of you is more important than what's behind you. What would happen if you made a decision today to stop letting your past dictate your present? What if you chose to let go of those old wounds, those old beliefs, and started moving forward with a fresh perspective? It's not easy, and it takes courage, but the truth is, you can't create a better future while you're still stuck in your past. The story I just shared isn't an isolated case. We see it everywhere, people letting their past mistakes hold them hostage, afraid to try again because they're convinced they'll fail. They allow those past failures to dictate their future decisions, and that's where they get stuck. It's like carrying a bag of bricks everywhere you go. You can't move forward with that weight on your back. And this isn't just something that happens when you're younger. It happens at any age. In fact, the older we get, the more we seem to hold on to things. We've built up a lifetime of emotional baggage, and it's hard to let go of it. But here's the secret. The longer you hold on to it, the harder it becomes to move forward. So what's the solution? The solution is simple, but it's not always easy. You have to choose to let go. You have to make the decision that the past no longer holds power over you. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means accepting, learning from, and then releasing. This principle applies in all areas of life: career, relationships, health, and personal growth. How often do you find yourself holding on to regrets from past decisions? How often do you replay those mistakes over and over in your head? How many times do you hold yourself back because you're afraid of what happened before? It's time to stop. The past is a lesson, not a life sentence. It's not there to imprison you. It's there to teach you how to make better choices in the future. But that can only happen if you stop living in the rearview mirror and start focusing on the road ahead. And here's the thing, you don't have to do it alone. Every person who's ever succeeded in life had to overcome their own struggles and face the challenge of letting go. Whether it's a man who had to recover from a failed business, a person who lost a loved one, or anyone who's ever experienced heartache, they all made a choice to move forward. And so can you. The question is, will you? Will you continue to let the past define your future? Or will you make the bold decision to move forward, to take control of your life, and to embrace what's ahead? The decision is yours. But remember, the windshield is always bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason. What lies ahead is far more important than what's behind you. Let go of the past and take that first step toward the life you've always wanted. Because your future is waiting for you. Right now. Today. 3. Letting go is not weakness. It's strength. You know, there's a story about a young man that might sound familiar to you. He was talented, driven, and had dreams just like anyone else. But there was one thing that held him back, something so powerful that it kept him from reaching his true potential: his past. He carried the weight of every criticism he had ever received. Whether it was from his parents, friends, or people at school, every harsh word, every discouraging comment, every failure was locked in his mind. And for years he let those words dictate his actions. Every time he wanted to take a step forward, he hesitated, unsure if he was capable. Every time he dreamed of achieving something great, he heard those voices in his head, reminding him of why it wouldn't work. Slowly but surely, those voices, those past criticisms, took control of his future. And before he knew it, his dreams began to fade. This young man thought that holding on to his pain made him stronger, but in reality, It was the very thing that was crushing him. He thought that if he could just prove everyone wrong, if he could push through the pain, he would find success. But all he found was frustration, anxiety, and self-doubt. Letting go is not weakness. It's one of the strongest things you can do. Letting go is about freeing yourself from the shackles of the past so you can move forward into the future you were meant to create. You see, we often think that holding on to the pain, the criticism, the hurt, is a way of being strong. We think, if I can handle all of this, then I must be strong. Right? But that's not strength. That's a prison of your own making. Real strength comes when you choose to let go of those things that are holding you back. It's the courage to release the past and move forward, not in denial of it, but in acknowledgement that it doesn't define who you are today. Holding on to the past doesn't make you stronger. It only makes you stagnant. It keeps you tied to a version of yourself that no longer serves you. You can't move forward if you're still anchored to what hurt you in the past. The moment you decide to let go is the moment you reclaim your power. When you choose to stop carrying the emotional baggage of past failures, criticism, and pain, you open up a world of new possibilities. That's when real growth happens. The thoughts you hold on to, the thoughts you nurture, shape your reality. If you continue to focus on the criticisms from your past, the negative voices that told you that you weren't good enough, you are allowing those thoughts to control you. But when you choose to let go of those toxic thoughts, when you refuse to let them define you anymore, you free yourself. It's not weakness, it's empowerment. The idea of letting go doesn't mean you erase the pain or the mistakes from your life. No, it means you stop letting those things control you. It means you stop allowing your past failures to make you feel like you're not worthy of success. Letting go means embracing your ability to learn from the past without being chained to it. In fact, if you look at some of the most successful people, they'll tell you that their success came not from holding on to everything they've ever done, but from letting go of what no longer served them. They didn't let their past failures define them. They used them as stepping stones, as lessons to move forward. And that's the key. Let your mistakes teach you, but never let them keep you stuck. I remember a conversation I had with an older man who had spent most of his life trying to prove himself. He grew up in a tough neighborhood, and from a young age, he had been told that he wouldn't amount to anything. Those words stung him deeply, and for years he tried to prove everyone wrong. He worked harder than anyone, but it was always out of fear, out of trying to prove something. Then one day, something shifted. He realized that he was carrying the weight of those old criticisms with him, letting them drive his every action. That's when he made a decision. He was going to let go. Let go of the need for approval. Let go of the need to prove people wrong, and instead, he focused on proving himself right. He stopped listening to the negativity of the past and started focusing on what he truly wanted. And you know what? That decision, that simple choice to let go, changed everything for him. His career flourished, his relationships improved, and for the first time he found peace. The lesson here is clear. Letting go is not about weakness. It's about reclaiming your strength. It's about releasing the toxic thoughts, the hurtful memories, and the fears that have held you back for far too long. It's about giving yourself permission to move forward. When you choose to let go, you take control of your future. You're not letting go of your dreams. You're letting go of everything that stands between you and those dreams. You're letting go of the self-doubt. You're letting go of the fear of failure. You're letting go of the past. 4. Overcoming comfort zones. The comfort zone, it's a place we all know well. It's that mental space where we feel safe, secure, and in control. But here's the truth. Your comfort zone is actually a danger zone. Every day you stay in it, every moment you choose to avoid discomfort, you're not living fully. You're not growing. In fact, you're slowly dying. Your dreams, the ones that burn deep within you, are also dying. You may feel comfortable, but comfort doesn't equate to progress. It doesn't lead to success. It only leads to stagnation. Comfort zones create the illusion of safety. We tell ourselves, as long as I stay here, I'm okay. I don't have to face the unknown. I don't have to risk failure. But the reality is, this illusion of safety is just that, an illusion. Staying in what's familiar, avoiding the discomfort of new experiences, does not protect you. It holds you back. Safety is not about avoiding challenges or staying within the limits of what you already know. True safety comes from knowing you have the strength and resilience to face whatever life throws at you. When you step outside of your comfort zone, you might not always succeed, but you will certainly grow. You will develop resilience, learn new skills, and expand your capacity to handle whatever comes your way. The real danger is not stepping out of your comfort zone. That's where the stagnation happens, where your dreams go to die. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning to face it and keep moving forward. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This speaks directly to the core of why staying in a comfort zone is ultimately detrimental. When you remain in the same place, you are avoiding the opportunity to test your ability to react, to adapt, and to thrive. Your growth is in the challenge. The key to true safety and success is not in clinging to what's comfortable, but in realizing that you can handle whatever challenges come your way. Life will throw curveballs at you, but when you have faced discomfort before, when you have stepped into the unknown and survived, you build the confidence and capability to face anything. The truth is, the longer you stay in that zone of comfort, the more you are giving up on the life you could be living. But here's the most important point. Stepping out of your comfort zone doesn't mean jumping off a cliff without a parachute. It doesn't mean making rash decisions or acting recklessly. What it means is that you start pushing your limits in small ways, taking incremental steps toward growth. You start by confronting the fears that have held you back. You make decisions that challenge your current boundaries. It could be a new career, a tough conversation, a difficult decision, anything that forces you to grow. In today's world, we live in an age of constant change, of shifting goals and demands, and of rapid technological advancement. It's easy to see how many people, especially those of us who've lived through decades of stability, might find comfort in staying in their familiar routines. The world moves fast, and it's easier to hold on to what you know than risk venturing into uncharted territory. But let me ask you this. How long can you afford to stay stagnant while the world around you keeps evolving? Comfort zones may provide temporary relief, but they're not where success or fulfillment live. They trap us in an endless cycle of mediocrity. They keep us from taking the risks necessary to unlock our full potential. I understand that stepping out of your comfort zone can be scary. You might feel like the older you get, the more difficult it becomes to take risks. But here's something you should remember. Growth doesn't have an age limit. It's never too late to start pushing yourself. In fact, the later you start, the more rewarding the journey becomes because you are consciously choosing to evolve, to improve, and to adapt. No matter how many years you've lived, there is always room to grow. Furthermore, the longer you stay in your comfort zone, the longer you deny yourself the opportunity for greatness. The true safety and security you seek lie not in staying comfortable, but in knowing that you have the ability to face the unknown and thrive. It's about believing in your own strength, in your capacity to adapt and grow. The Stoics, particularly Seneca, taught us that no man is free who is not master of himself. If you continue to allow your fears to control you, you remain a prisoner of your own comfort zone. True freedom comes from choosing to act, even when it's uncomfortable. Let's face it, staying comfortable is easy, but growth comes from discomfort. And as long as you're willing to embrace the discomfort of change, to take those first steps outside your comfort zone, you're on the path to a richer, more fulfilling life. The choice is yours. Remain stagnant or step into the unknown and become the person you were always meant to be. The true danger is not in challenging yourself. It's in staying comfortable for too long and watching your dreams slip away. You've taken the first step towards letting go and living freely. If you're ready to transform your life, leave a comment saying, "I'm letting go," to show your commitment. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the powerful lessons ahead. Remember, you hold the key to your future. 5. The process of letting go. In the journey of letting go, the first step is about being brutally honest with yourself. It's easy to lie to ourselves, to make excuses for holding on to things that no longer serve us. But if you're truly ready to move forward in life, you have to ask yourself, what am I holding on to that's holding me back? Whether it's a toxic relationship, a dead-end job, or the weight of past failures, these things only weigh you down. Sometimes, we hold on to things because we fear change, or we feel that letting go means we're giving up. But in reality, letting go isn't weakness, it's strength. It's a conscious decision to make space for the things that truly matter in your life. Stop keeping spoiled food in the fridge, hoping it will become fresh again. Holding on to old relationships, jobs, or grudges is no different. You can't keep hoping that something that's gone bad will somehow get better. It's not going to. The longer you hold on to something that no longer nourishes you, the more it rots inside you. And just like with spoiled food, you need to throw it out and clear up that space so you can make room for what's fresh and meaningful. Letting go is like cleaning out the fridge of your life. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Now, let's talk about forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools you can use to free yourself from the past. But let me make one thing clear. Forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. Holding on to anger, resentment, or regret is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It doesn't work that way. You're the one who suffers, not them. Forgiveness is a way of taking your power back. It's about releasing the burden of negativity that has been weighing on your soul so you can move forward with peace. If you hold on to past hurts, they will keep controlling your life. They will shape your future decisions, your relationships, and even your happiness. But when you forgive, you take control back. You free yourself from the chains of the past and make room for new opportunities. But forgiveness and letting go are not just emotional processes. They also require practical steps. The first step is acknowledging what you're holding on to and writing it down. This act of writing brings clarity to your emotions. It forces you to confront the things you've been avoiding. What are the unresolved issues or regrets you need to address? Once you've written them down, it becomes easier to see them for what they really are, just pieces of your past that have no place in your future. It's not about forgetting, it's about releasing. Next, recognize these elements in your life for what they are, and accept that you cannot change them. Sometimes the hardest part of letting go is accepting that you can't fix the past, but once you truly understand that, you can release the grip those memories have over you. And finally, release it. Whether you rip the paper up, burn it, or just mentally let go, the act of releasing signifies your decision to free yourself from the weight of the past. This is your life, and you have the power to let go of anything that no longer serves you. Let's also talk about change. Change can be intimidating, it can be uncomfortable, it can feel like you're walking into the unknown. But isn't that where all the growth happens? In the unknown? If you're always playing it safe, you're never going to reach your potential. Every single person who has achieved anything worthwhile had to make the choice to let go of what was comfortable. Whether it was a career, a relationship, or an old identity that no longer served them, they had to make the tough decision to let go and embrace what was waiting for them on the other side. Are you ready to do the same? Here's where it gets personal. Think about something in your own life that you need to let go of. Maybe it's a job that drains you, or a relationship that keeps pulling you down. Maybe it's a mistake you made years ago that's still haunting you. Letting go isn't about forgetting. It's about releasing its grip on your future. It's about taking back your power and your peace. It's about saying, I'm done with this. I'm ready for something better. To wrap this up, Let me leave you with a powerful quote from Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher who once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you let go of the past, you stop allowing it to control you. You regain control over your mind, over your choices, and ultimately over your life. Take that first step today. Write it down, recognize it, and release it. Your future is waiting, but it's up to you to make room for it. Letting go isn't weakness. It's your greatest act of strength and self-empowerment. And the time to do it is now. Your life, your dreams, they're all on the other side of letting go. 6. The power of empty hands. Let me ask you something. How often do you find yourself holding on to things, people, or situations that no longer serve you? Do you ever wonder why it feels like you're stuck, as if life isn't moving forward, no matter how hard you try? Well, there's a powerful reason for that. And it has everything to do with the space you're holding on to, or more importantly, the space you're not making. Standing in a doorway, your hands full with bags, and trying to step forward into a new room. How could you possibly move forward with all that weight in your hands? The universe works in the same way. It can only bring new things into your life if you first make space for them. You can't walk through a new door while holding on to the old one. Holding on to past pain, old grudges, or toxic relationships is like standing in that doorway with full hands, hoping for something new but never making the move to release what's weighing you down. How many times have you felt stuck in life because you haven't made room for what's next? Sometimes the key to moving forward is simple. Clear the clutter of the past and open yourself to new opportunities. When you let go, you are essentially giving yourself the chance to trust the process of life. It might feel uncomfortable at first. After all, letting go is never easy. But trust me, life has a way of filling your empty hands with exactly what you need. When you empty your hands of old baggage, whether it's emotional, physical, or mental, you create space for new blessings, growth, and opportunities. It's like cleaning out a closet that's been packed for years. At first, it looks like a lot of work and maybe even a little frightening, but once you get everything out, you realize you now have room for new clothes, new energy, new experiences. Do you trust that life can fill your hands with exactly what you need? When you let go of the things that are no longer useful, you make room for better things to come. Think about the times in your life when you finally let go of a job, a relationship, or an old belief system that was holding you back. Didn't something better always come along after? It's like the universe rewards those who are willing to take a leap of faith and trust that better things are ahead. Letting go is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it takes immense strength to release what no longer serves you. And trust me, it's not just about getting rid of, it's about making room for your future self. You might not see it in the moment, but every time you let go of something, you're making a choice to trust yourself, to believe in your own ability to move forward. So many of us hang on to things, whether it's fear, failure, or regrets, because we're afraid that without them we won't know who we are. But the truth is, the more you hold on to the past, the less you can fully embrace the future. You can't take your past with you into your future. In fact, your past will only drag you down, preventing you from reaching your potential. You have to trust the process of letting go. Letting go is a bold step, but one that will ultimately fill your life with more peace, more clarity, and more opportunity. But in order to do this, you must first understand that life doesn't always operate on your timeline. The process of releasing something that no longer serves you might take time. It might even take a little pain, but the reward is worth it. Every step of the process is necessary for growth. Like Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In the same way, you don't need to waste any more time holding on to things that have no place in your life. Simply let go, be present, and move forward. The universe will fill your hands with what you need, but only when you've created the space to receive it. One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to create space for new things. This is a concept that runs deep in both Stoicism and modern self-improvement philosophies. Marcus Aurelius, again, reminds us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." What is it that you are thinking about right now? Is it a dream you've given up on? Is it a toxic relationship or a job that you know is draining your soul? Your thoughts are the first thing you need to let go of in order to move forward. Think about the stories you tell yourself. Do you constantly tell yourself that you can't move forward because of what happened in the past? If so, now's the time to change that narrative. It all starts with making space for new possibilities. Letting go is also about releasing the need for control. So many of us hold on to things because we believe we can control the outcome. But let me tell you something. You can't control everything. Trying to control every aspect of your life only leads to stress, frustration, and exhaustion. True peace comes from surrendering to the flow of life, knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way, whether it's success or failure. If you trust the process, life will fill your hands with exactly what you need. But this requires faith, patience, and the courage to let go. Have you ever had a situation in your life where you couldn't control the outcome, but after you let go and stopped stressing, things turned out better than you expected? There's a powerful moment when you release your grip on the past, and suddenly, the future opens up to you. This is the magic of empty hands. Once you clear your hands of the weight of the past, the future can flow into you freely. But you have to make that choice first. You have to decide that the old door is no longer worth holding on to, and that you're ready to step through the new one no matter what it holds. Trust that when you let go, life will fill your hands with exactly what you need. It might not always look the way you expected, but it will be exactly what you were meant to receive. 7. Strength in letting go. You may not realize it, but strength isn't about holding on with all your might. It's about knowing when to release, when to let go. Let's take a moment and reflect on one of nature's greatest lessons, the river and the rock. Water flowing along its path, meeting a rock in its way. What does the water do? Does it resist the rock, struggle, and waste energy fighting against it? The water simply adapts. It doesn't complain. It doesn't cry out in frustration. Instead, it finds a way around, over, or under the obstacle. It continues its course without being derailed by the rock. Now let's think about how this applies to your life. So many of us face obstacles, difficult situations, failures, criticism, and fears. We often try to hold on to things that aren't working, hoping that if we just push harder, we can make them bend to our will. But real strength, like the river, is in the ability to adapt and move around those obstacles. How often do you find yourself holding on to something that's clearly not serving you anymore? The truth is, just like the water, your true power lies in knowing how to let go. Letting go is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of incredible strength. You see, we've been conditioned to believe that holding on tightly to things, to people, to situations, is a measure of our strength. But true strength isn't in the grip, it's in the release. Think about a time when you held on to something out of fear or pride, whether it was a job, a relationship, or a grudge. How did that serve you? Probably not well. Strength isn't in holding on. It's in letting go when everything inside you tells you to fight, when your mind tells you that you need to stay in control. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacles we face aren't there to stop us. They're there to teach us. And one of the greatest lessons they can teach us is the power of release. When we stop trying to force things and learn to let go, we often find that the things we were holding on to were the very things preventing us from moving forward. Now, think about your own life. How many times have you held on to something that was no longer serving you, out of fear or attachment? Maybe it was a job that drained your energy, or perhaps a toxic relationship that weighed you down. At the time, it might have seemed like the safest choice, the most familiar option. But the illusion of safety and holding on can be the most dangerous thing of all. Real safety comes from knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way and that you have the strength to adapt, just like the water flowing around the rock. Holding on to things only keeps you stagnant. The moment you let go, you free yourself to move forward and grow. In life, we are often told that success comes from pushing harder, from fighting against the current. But what if true success came from learning when to let go, when to stop forcing things, and when to flow with life instead of against it? The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught us that it's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters. This speaks directly to the heart of letting go. Life will always throw obstacles your way. People will criticize you, and things won't always go as planned. But your response, your ability to adapt, to release, to move around the rock, will determine your strength. Just like the river, you have the power to navigate around the obstacles that life puts in front of you. And when you release what no longer serves you, you give yourself the freedom to become something greater. The real power of letting go lies in the freedom it offers. Freedom from the past. Freedom from guilt, anger, or regret. Freedom from limiting beliefs. It's the freedom to move forward with clarity and purpose. But this freedom doesn't come without its challenges. Letting go means facing the unknown, and for many of us, the unknown is terrifying. We cling to the familiar, even if it's not good for us, because it feels like we can control it. But life is unpredictable, and the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can learn to flow with it. What's scarier? The fear of the unknown or the comfort of staying in a situation that no longer serves you? Letting go means embracing uncertainty, but also realizing that uncertainty is where growth happens. It's where new possibilities emerge, and where you get the chance to reinvent yourself. To take this a step further, consider the metaphor of the river meeting the rock. The river doesn't waste its energy trying to destroy the rock. It simply adjusts, redirects, and moves forward. This is the art of adaptation, and it's something we can all learn from. Instead of trying to fight the inevitable, learn to adapt to it. Life will present you with rocks, challenges, obstacles, and setbacks. But your strength comes not from trying to change the rocks, but from learning how to move around them and continue forward. Letting go is one of the most powerful acts of courage you can make. It's not a sign of weakness, but of immense strength and wisdom. When you stop resisting and start adapting, when you release what no longer serves you, you'll find yourself moving forward with a new sense of freedom and possibility. The rock may still be in your path, but just like the water, you can move around it, over it, or under it. Remember, strength lies not in holding on, but in knowing when to let go. 8. Embracing the present and the future. We often find ourselves consumed by thoughts of the past or anxieties about the future, losing sight of what truly matters, the present moment. It's easy to get stuck in regret over things we did or didn't do, or to become paralyzed by fear of what might happen next. The present moment is a gift. Right now, this very moment, is the only time you truly have. Every second spent worrying about the past or future is a second you'll never get back. Denzel Washington said it best, "The present moment is a gift. Don't waste it worrying about the past or the future." These words resonate because they remind us to focus on the present, where real living happens. Now take a moment and think. How many times today have you worried about something that hasn't even happened yet, or dwelled on something you can't change? All of that is time spent not fully embracing what's in front of you. This moment, your life right now. The past is behind you, and the future is uncertain, but right now is where you have the power. So, ask yourself, how often do you truly live in the present, instead of carrying the weight of past mistakes or future fears? You have the choice to step into this moment fully, and leave behind the baggage that holds you back. Another major roadblock we face in embracing the present is perfectionism. We often trick ourselves into thinking that perfection is the goal, that we need to have everything in our lives figured out, polished, and flawless. But perfectionism is nothing but fear disguised as control. It's the fear of making mistakes, of not being good enough, of not measuring up. The more we chase perfection, the more we chase something that doesn't even exist. You see, life is not about being perfect. It's about being present, learning, and growing. Growth happens not when you're trying to control every aspect of your life, but when you allow yourself the freedom to fail, learn, and move forward. Every time you try to make something perfect, you hold yourself back from making progress. When was the last time you didn't take a step forward because you felt like you weren't ready or didn't have everything perfect? How many dreams have you pushed aside because you were too focused on every little detail? The truth is, growth is messy. It's imperfect. It's full of ups and downs, wins and failures. But it's in those failures where the real lessons are learned. Think about a time when you tried so hard to be perfect that you missed out on something amazing. Maybe it was a project you kept perfecting, or a goal you delayed because you thought you had to have it all figured out. In reality, perfection is just a mask for your fear. It's not about avoiding mistakes. It's about learning from them. Perfectionism paralyzes you, while progress empowers you. One of the most liberating things you can do is let go of the need to be perfect, because when you stop chasing perfection, you open yourself up to real growth. Real success isn't about having everything right. It's about being brave enough to try, fail, and keep going. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." When you focus too much on getting things perfect, you waste time that could be spent on living, learning, and evolving. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by expectations, whether from yourself or others. Social media, career pressures, relationships, and society's standards all seem to tell us that we need to look a certain way, be a certain way, and have everything in perfect order. But this constant chase for perfection can rob you of your peace and your ability to enjoy life. Perfectionism is a thief. It steals your joy and your peace. Instead of enjoying the journey, it forces you to focus on an unreachable destination. You keep telling yourself that once you have the perfect skills, the perfect resume, the perfect timing, you'll take the leap. But in reality, waiting for perfection only keeps you stuck. The moment you release that fear of not being perfect enough is the moment you take control of your life. The key is not to wait for the right time, but to make the time right by embracing the opportunities in front of you and taking imperfect action. The job, the relationship, the opportunity. It might not be perfect, but you can make it work. You can grow into it. Life isn't about waiting for everything to align perfectly. It's about stepping forward, even when things are uncertain. In a way, perfectionism is the enemy of freedom. When you let go of the need to have everything under control, you open the door to a life full of possibility. Letting go of perfectionism doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means shifting your focus from control to growth. It's about knowing that you'll never have all the answers, but trusting that you'll figure things out as you go. Life isn't about being perfect. It's about being present, embracing the messiness, and finding beauty in the journey. What would happen if you stopped trying to control everything and started embracing growth instead? The truth is, the moment you stop chasing perfection, you start living. And that's the gift of the present, the ability to embrace where you are right now, flaws and all. 9. The courage to walk away. There comes a moment in life when you realize that walking away is sometimes the bravest thing you can do. This isn't about giving up. It's about having the courage to choose your future over the past. Too often we convince ourselves that in order to progress we must hold on to everything, the relationships, the jobs, the habits, or even the emotions that have long overstayed their welcome. We believe we need to keep them because they feel familiar, even if they are toxic or no longer serve us. But here's the truth. The only way to truly move forward is to leave behind what's holding you back. Denzel Washington, in his speeches, reminds us that letting go is not weakness. It is an act of immense strength and self-respect. It takes far more strength to walk away from a job that drains you, a relationship that brings you no peace, or a situation that holds you back, than it does to stay in the comfort of familiarity. Why do we continue to hold on to things that are clearly not good for us? It's fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of discomfort, and fear of failure. But what's more frightening than the unknown is the certainty of staying stuck. When we remain in a situation that doesn't support our growth, we sacrifice our future for the false comfort of the present. We may fear the risks that come with change, but the real risk is staying exactly where you are. If you stay in the same place for too long, you'll stop growing. Life, growth, and opportunities are all on the other side of discomfort. But to access them, you must be willing to let go of what is no longer helping you evolve. What if you could free yourself from the weight of past choices? Letting go of things, whether it's a job that doesn't fulfill you, a toxic relationship, or beliefs you've held onto for years, requires mental toughness and emotional intelligence. It's about making space for new opportunities that align with who you are today, not who you were yesterday. Think about a tree in fall. Its leaves must fall so that new growth can emerge in spring. In the same way, you need to shed what's holding you back to make room for your own growth. But the hardest part is often the fear of regret. We've all asked ourselves, what if I leave and things get worse? Or, what if I regret this decision? These fears are natural, but they are often what paralyze us from making the necessary changes. Staying in a situation that no longer serves you is already costing you something valuable: your peace, your energy, your time, and your potential. Regret does not come from making bold choices. It comes from choosing to remain stuck, never testing the possibilities outside your comfort zone. The moment you choose to walk away, you free yourself to explore new challenges, embrace new opportunities, and invite fresh relationships into your life. You reclaim your power. The courage to walk away is not about running from problems or avoiding hard work. It's about refusing to let problems define you. Whether it's a job that makes you miserable, a relationship that brings you pain, or the belief that you're not worthy of something better, recognize this: these things are not worth your future. Let them go. The future is yours to create, but only if you're willing to let go of what's keeping you in the past. As Denzel Washington powerfully states, you will never be criticized by someone who is doing more than you. They'll be too busy doing their own thing. The only people who criticize you are the ones who are doing less than you. Let go of criticism, let go of doubt, and let go of the fear of judgment. It's time to step into the future that's waiting for you. Remember, real courage is not found in holding on to the past, but in walking away from what no longer serves you. When you decide to step away, you open up space for new possibilities, new opportunities, and a new version of yourself. The life you want is waiting on the other side of that brave decision. It's time to take the leap. You are stronger than you think, and your best days are ahead of you. You're on the path to something incredible. Take a moment to declare your commitment by commenting, "I choose freedom," below. Like, share, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life, and turn on notifications so we can continue this journey together. The next chapter of your life starts now, and it's going to be amazing. 10. Embracing change. Change is one of the most inevitable forces in life, yet it's the one that we fear the most. It's uncomfortable, unsettling, and often requires us to step into the unknown, away from the safety and familiarity of what we know. If you want to truly live your life, to experience real freedom, you have to embrace change. Change is not just something that happens to us. It's the very engine of growth. Denzel Washington often speaks about how the key to success lies in not clinging to old habits, outdated beliefs, or past versions of ourselves. He urges us to evolve, to accept the fluidity of life, and to realize that life is about continuous transformation. Think about it. Nothing stays the same forever, and neither should you. To grow, to expand, to fully live, you must embrace change as an integral part of your journey. Reflect on your own life for a moment. Think about the most significant moments of success and growth. Likely, they all came from a place of change. A new job, moving to a different city, taking a risk on a relationship, or even leaving one behind. Change, even when it's difficult, is the vehicle through which all growth happens. But here's where it gets tricky. Change doesn't always come easy. It's often uncomfortable, challenging, and full of uncertainty. You might feel fear, hesitation, and vulnerability as you step into the unknown. Fear of failure, rejection, and loss are natural reactions, but resisting change only locks you out of new opportunities. What if instead of running from change, you chose to see it as an opportunity? What if every shift, every uncomfortable moment, was a chance to discover a new part of yourself and what you're truly capable of? Often, the real struggle comes not from the change itself, but from the fear of not being prepared for what's next. We want to have all the answers, to be sure that we're ready, that we won't fail. But here's a powerful truth. Life doesn't work that way. You can never have all the answers in advance, and that's okay. What matters most is your ability to trust the process. It's about having faith that life will bring you exactly what you need, even if it's not what you expect or envision. When you let go of the need for certainty and open yourself up to the flow of change, you'll start to see how life begins to provide the experiences that allow you to grow, adapt, and evolve. It's not about controlling the outcome, but trusting that step by step, you'll be led in the right direction. In today's world, we're constantly surrounded by change. Whether it's technology moving at lightning speed, changes in career paths, evolving relationships, or even personal goals shifting over time, life is in a perpetual state of flux. Rather than fearing this change, what if you chose to see it as an opportunity for growth? What if you realized that every change, no matter how challenging, could bring you closer to the person you are meant to be? Over the years, you've already experienced many changes. Think about how your values, perspective, and even interests have evolved. These changes, though often difficult, have shaped you into who you are today. Imagine what could happen if you stopped resisting change and opened yourself up to the possibilities that lie ahead. The future, filled with new opportunities, is always waiting for you, but only if you're willing to evolve and embrace the shifting tides of life. Sometimes the most important change you need to embrace is internal. Have you ever asked yourself, am I the person I truly want to be? Or, what old beliefs or habits have I been holding on to that are no longer serving me? Real change often requires us to look within, to examine the parts of ourselves that may be stuck in the past. Are you ready to let go of who you were in order to become who you are meant to be? This inner transformation is the most powerful change you can make. It's the moment when you realize that your growth is not tied to what has been, but to what is yet to come. And that shift in perspective can open doors to freedom you never imagined. In Stoic philosophy, Epictetus taught us that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This speaks directly to the essence of embracing change. Change, by its very nature, is out of our control, but our response to it is entirely in our hands. The future is never certain, and change often brings discomfort, but it is the foundation of everything that is possible. When you choose to release your need for control and accept the ebb and flow of life, you will find that life becomes richer and more fulfilling. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward freedom. When you trust the process, let go of old fears, and open yourself to new possibilities, you'll find that life is no longer something to be feared, but something to be celebrated. The journey is unfolding exactly as it should, and your willingness to embrace change will determine the level of freedom you experience in your life. The only way to find out is to embrace it. Let go of the old and step into the new. The freedom, growth, and opportunities are there, ready and waiting. As we come to the end of this video, remember, Your future is too bright to be blinded by the past. It's time to let go of who you were supposed to become and embrace who you are meant to be. This is your moment, your time to break free from everything that has been holding you back. Life isn't happening to you, life is responding to you. When you let go of what weighs you down, you make room for what can lift you up. The choice is yours. The time is now. Let go. Live free. Soar high. I want you to commit right now to letting go of one thing that's been holding you back. Maybe it's fear, doubt, or even something physical. Take a deep breath and let go. Let go of that grudge, that fear, that doubt, and feel how light you can be. Your best life is waiting for you. If you found value in today's message, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos that can help you unlock your fullest potential. Let's continue this journey of growth together. Until next time, take action, let go, and live free.